I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Joining me today, Representative Tracy Steele, Democrat of Little Rock. We'll talk about some things happening at the state legislature and his memorial resolution to honor the late Governor Jim Guy Tucker. All of this and more on today's Talk Business and Politics Daily.
Talk Business and Politics Daily is sponsored in part by Impact Management Group and
Power. It's right there, waiting, ready to go when you are. Connect this, click that, unconnect and go every day. Delivered by your electric cooperative. Each unique, always united, and completely local. Born from a mission to provide dependable, sustainable, and affordable power to every corner of Arkansas. And delivering on that promise for a brighter Arkansas every day. It's the local hometown cooperative way. Better connected. Together. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas.
Well, we got some news today of when this 95th General Assembly may actually come to a conclusion. It's the end of February, and it seems like it's going to be far away, but there was a resolution passed today to encourage the Arkansas legislature to finish its business by April 16th, at which time they would adjourn for a few weeks. They would come back on May 5th and officially sine die, which is where they close out the session and no further business could take place at that period in time. So it looks like the Capitol will be covered with legislative colleagues at least until April 16th, and for sure again on May 5th. We will be back after this word from our sponsors with Representative Tracy Steele. We'll talk about a memorial resolution that he passed today to honor the late Governor Jim Guy Tucker, whose funeral was on Monday. Stay with us.
Talk Business and Politics Daily is sponsored in part by Capital Advisors Group and
in the Navy, I train recruits. At Walmart, I recruit veterans. So many veterans have built their careers here.
I served in the Army for 11 years. I was promoted 4 times. Been with Walmart 9 years. I've been promoted 5 times.
I started as an hourly associate, and now I run the store.
430,000 veterans hired in the last decade. That's more than serving in the U.S. Navy today. There's no better place for veterans to work.
Connection. It's the heart of what we do. It's why we work to better the communities where we live and work. It's why we're expanding to get people connected and create digital equity programs that support affordable internet and digital literacy. We're leaders for positive change. From the way we empower our people, clients, and communities to the way we care for our planet. We live our values every day. We're Cox Communications, and we're pleased to connect with you.
Joining me now, Representative Tracy Steele, Democrat of North Little Rock. Good to have him with us. Representative Steele, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Roby. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We go way back, and we're not going to say how far back we go because that would be a reflection of how old we are. But
that's right.
It's a few decades. It's a few decades. Hey,
Yes.
on the floor of the Arkansas House today, you helped pass a memorial resolution in honor of a gentleman that we both worked for where we first met, as a matter of fact, former Governor Jim Guy Tucker. Tell me a little bit. You told 2 stories about him, your best day and your worst day. I thought it was a beautiful tribute to him. Tell me a little bit about what he meant to you.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Roby. You know, I was probably one of those ones who was on former Governor Clinton's staff when I was a very young man. I was started the intern and went to work. And when the transition came and people were going to Washington, D.C. to take on those jobs, I had the unfortunate situation that my mother became ill. And so I couldn't leave at that time. And I stayed here with her for some time. Also kind of thinking that at some point I'd go to Washington, D.C. And then I continued to work for then Governor Jim Guy Tucker. And when she eventually passed, inauguration was in January. She passed in April. Governor Tucker offered me, said, hey, come on and go to work for me. But the thing I remember most is doing that funeral service, coming into the church and looking on the front row there and seeing none other than the governor of the state of Arkansas, Jim Guy Tucker, that took time out of his busy schedule to attend my mother's going away service. And that just meant the world to me. And I thought about that yesterday at the church service, what he did. So my worst day and then my best day. It was when I married Cassandra, one of your fans. She always watches your show. When I married Cassandra about a year later, when I was still working for the governor, and he came in and just kind of hijacked our reception and made a beautiful toast to us and so forth. And just after he was there at my mother's funeral, he kind of kept an eye on me and kind of saw I was doing. You know, he went on, as you know, Roby, to appoint me as the first director of the Martin Luther King Commission.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Yes.
Listen, a little bit of old school week for you too. You're back at the Arkansas legislature after a few years off. How does it feel to be back up there at the Capitol? Is it different? Does it feel different this time around?
You know, it certainly feels different. You know, things were kind of reversed when we were here last time. It's been 12 years. But fortunately, I've stayed kind of connected to the legislative process because I've been agency director for the past several years, the Health Permit Service Agency. I've worked with several governors, and lastly, Governor Jim Tucker, and then I ended with Governor Asa Hutchinson, who appointed me to the Health Services Permit Agency. So, as a director, we stayed engaged somewhat with the legislature. So, not much difference from when I served. Technology has changed. Information comes a lot quicker. Certainly, the numbers have switched as far as the party that's in control. But what I tell everyone at the end of the day, Roby, people are still people.
That's right. That's right. Let's talk about some bills that you guys have been, I guess, arm wrestling over up there at the Capitol. There's one that has a lot of bipartisan support. It was signed into law late last week. It's for free breakfast for school kids. You were a big supporter of that bill. Tell me why that was important to get done, and why do you think it took so long?
You know, I think it took some time to get everyone together and on the same page. And oftentimes, unfortunately, that happens with you got bills that are so encompassing and so broad and wide reaching. In between that span of the last 12 years, when I have not been in the legislature, 9 of those years was spent on the North Little Rock School Board. So I was certainly an advocate for that, and got involved with other people like Senator Clark Tucker down on the Senate end for that legislation, because that is so critical that we start our kids off with a day with nutrition. If a kid is not fed, it's very difficult for them to be at their best and difficult for them to learn.
Today, you guys voted on a couple of direct democracy bills. These have been part of a bigger package that has been moving through the legislature. It looks like they're heading for the governor's desk. You were a no vote on those bills today. Tell me what your opposition is to these bills that affect the petition gathering process.
Well, I think they're very technical bills in nature, and I've kind of followed some of those bills with the signature process. And I think that the result of those bills is just going to make it harder for Arkansans to be heard with issues that go before the voters. And I think that's wrong, and it's always been wrong. And it's gonna take Arkansas back a few steps. And so I will continue to work for the day that we can come back and rectify that and have a process that's fair, where people can give their signatures and registered voters can be heard on these ballot initiatives.
All right, he's Representative Tracy Steele, Democrat of North Little Rock, an old friend. It's good to catch up with you. Keep up the good work there at the legislature on all of these things that you're working for, and for sure, tell your wife that I am proud to have her as my biggest fan. I hope she's a bigger fan of me than she is Representative Tracy Steele. Would you convey that?
I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to take it, but she always said, you know, Roby has sense. And I'm like, well, but baby, what do I have? But it was so good to see you and bring back those memories and yesterday, and people like me, you, and Allie Freeman, former Razorback, Allie Freeman, who worked with us as well. We had a good group, like a family. And so sorry for the loss of Governor Jim Tucker, but he was, I'd put it like this, he was a great guy.
Yeah, he really was. All right, Representative Tracy Steele, thank you so much.
Thank you, Roby.
And that's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.